Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Welcome into the NFL Opening Line Report. Week number 8 is upon us. I am Drew Martin, like always, joined by Teddy Covers each and every Monday right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, getting you on the right side of some of these moves in the NFL betting market. Without further ado, Teddy, welcome in. Happy Monday morning to you, buddy.
Hey, great to be here, Drew. I wish I was here off a better day yesterday. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I had KC right and just about everything else wrong on yesterday's card. You've been crushing the NFL of late. Let's give you kudos. I'm still above 60% for the season, so I can't complain too much. But here we are already in week 8, and we're talking about, an 18-week regular season. Almost halfway there. Let's get into it.
It's going by so fast. It's crazy.
That's how it works. NFL, football's a sprint. Baseball, basketball, hockey are marathons. It's a whole different, scenario.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It really is, guys. We got to get after it, and we're already to week 8 here. Actually, speaking of week 7, Teddy, it is Monday. We got a quick look here. Chicago Bears, New England Patriots. We've seen a big move. I mean, relatively big move for the NFL betting market sidewise here, Teddy. Open 6. We're seeing 8.5s, 8 out there. That's the New England Patriots as the home favorite. 40 being the total, 40.5 available as well. Any quick thoughts on the Monday nighter?
Yeah, multiple books opened 8 here. This isn't a scenario that every book opened 6 and it got pounded up. There were books that had the look ahead line at 6, but certainly when many books posted, it was 8, and it really hasn't moved as much as I thought it would. We've seen over money come in, which is a little bit of a surprise. Then again, Mac Jones is going to play if you have a starting quarterback for New England. That's probably what that is about. And obviously, it feels to me at least like this is all quarterback related for New England. That's why the money is coming on the Patriots more than any other reason. Of course, New England is off back-to-back comfortable victories by margin. And, of course, everyone knows Belichick's track record against young QBs, although, Fields isn't a rookie anymore. And I'll say this for the Bears. They've been hanging around. The last 3 losses, last 3 games, all losses, but all by less of a margin than this one. And we saw them rally from behind at Minnesota after the Vikings took a big lead. They actually took a lead in that game. Chicago did. But that has been so they've been a team that's shown some feistiness. Anyhow, money's coming for the over. Money's coming for the Patriots. I'm not convinced we're going to see more money for either of those two between now and kickoff.
Good stuff, Teddy. Starting it off, NFL Opening Line Report style. Right now, Thursday, October 27th, 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific kick here, Teddy. 101, 102 is the rotation number. Looking at the Wager Talk Live odd screen, guys. We got Baltimore at Tampa Bay, 45 being the total. We are seeing Ravens -1.5 as the road favorite right now at most shops, Teddy. Raymond James Stadium, Thursday night football.
Look ahead line here was Tampa -3. And that got bet down to Tampa -3 even money. Look ahead total was 44. Now we're looking obviously at a 4.5 point line move off of 1 week's result. And Baltimore came away with the win yesterday against Cleveland, no cover. They lost that game just like they lost the other ones, but the Browns screwed up even worse. They've got Ravens got outgained yesterday, 6 yards per play. 4 yards per play. 2 yards per play, they were outgained and still managed to win. Last 4 games, Lamar Jackson, 3 touchdowns, 4 INTs. They had only 120 passing yards yesterday, most of which came on dump-offs. And again, it wasn't Baltimore has blown 3 double-digit leads. Each of their, they've blown double-digit leads in the second half of each of their 3 losses. And in this one, they did it again. They're up by 10. Cleveland scores a touchdown. Baltimore fumbles it all. Ball fumbles the ball away. Cleveland marches down the field. They score a touchdown, gets called back on penalty. They get another penalty that forces the field goal attempt to be further back. and end up getting the win. But it wasn't like Baltimore went out and won this game. There are problems right now with the Ravens, which are nothing compared to the problems compared to the Bucs. I mean, when that was flat out embarrassing yesterday, but it was embarrassing the game before for Tampa Bay. When you're getting outgained by 2 yards per play by the number 32 offense in the league, giving up 6.4 yards per carry against a team that just traded their starting running back and put their starting center on injured reserve, it was pretty ugly, and everything was out of sync. Mike, the opening drive, and I wonder how the game, if it plays differently, if Mike Evans catches that touchdown pass. I mean, Mike Evans was as wide open as he'll ever be for a touchdown on the third play from scrimmage, and the Bucs would have taken a 7-0 lead. But he fumbled the ball away, and boom, it was gone. Was the rest of the game a result of that? I'm not convinced, even if they got that the Patriots would have, the Bucs would have gotten the victory. Todd Bowles, quote, "We're going to see how many people can handle adversity. It's about as dark as it's going to be right now." When you look at Tampa's 3 wins, they beat Dallas on opening night when Dak got hurt. They beat the 3-4 Falcons with no cover. They beat the 2-5 Saints in a game that was tied at halftime. We can understand why the markets are crashing on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. Again, the 4.5-point line move from the look ahead to the current number. It's an overreaction, but maybe it isn't.
Teddy Covers. Breaking it down at Teddy_covers on Twitter. We got the Sunday slate. Yeah.
Let me just jump in real quick because there's a huge issue here as well.
Sure.
The old quarterbacks. We look to bet against the old quarterbacks on Thursday Night Football. We like to bet against the rookie head coaches who haven't done it before and the old quarterbacks who haven't recovered from what happened on Sunday. And Brady certainly falls into that category here.
Interesting. Like that tidbit, Teddy. Also, shout out to Rich. He's a watcher here, Teddy. He actually sent me a DM question saying it happened this week, Baltimore and Tampa Bay. The teams playing on Sunday that then have to play on Thursday have been good bet against. It happened with the Arizona Cardinals as well. Do you think there's anything to that, betting against the teams that are playing on Thursday the Sunday before? Or no, it's just random?
I've never looked at it. That's a Ralph Michaels question, and I will ask him. It wouldn't shock me if there's something to it, but it wouldn't shock me if there's nothing to it as well. The answer is I don't know, and I'll find out. Excellent question. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. It caught me off guard as well, and it looked really interesting. Thanks again to everybody commenting below in the reply section on the YouTube channel. Feel free to fire out questions on Twitter as well, at Teddy_covers, at Drew Martin Bets. We're going live 10 a.m. Pacific time each and every Monday right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, NFL opening line report style. We got a full Sunday slate here, guys. 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 251-252. Heading to the other side of the pond, Teddy Covers. Denver Broncos at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I say it's really at Wembley Stadium in London, England. We're seeing -3.5 or -4. That's the Jaguars as the quote-unquote home favorite, Teddy. 39.5 being the total here.
Yeah, we just talked about 2 teams that are struggling in terms of Baltimore and Tampa. Here's 2 more teams that are struggling in their own way. Look ahead line here, Jags -3, bet down. The Jags -3 even money, total of 40. And obviously we've seen the adjustment with Jacksonville bet up on the opener. My powering number for the game is only 2. I'm not overly high on Jacksonville right now. All that said, look, yesterday was a disaster game for the sports books, the Broncos, Jets. And it was probably one of the worst games of the year for the books in the NFL. The pros were on the Jets. The Joes were on the Jets. Every dollar came on the under. And the Broncos scored 9 points again. Brett Ripien after the game. When you end up with only 9 points, you kind of sit here like, no idea. He's talking about the team's offensive struggle. Nathaniel Hackett. I'm sick of being up here saying the same thing over and over again. The opportunities are there. At some point, we got to take them. There are no excuses. We've been in every game, and we've got to win these games. Look, their defense was great yesterday. I bet Denver in part because look, anytime the pros and Joes are on the same side and you get a 4.5, 5-point line move, I'm interested. And I'm like, Ripien's not going to be any worse than Russell Wilson's been. I think he was. It was rough. McManus missing extra points, missing field goals. This is a problem for Denver. And the long flight to London. Look, they scored 16 or less, 6 games in 7 tries. And yet I only have the Jags -2. Jags are 0-5 in one-score games this year. All right. I understand that they got only 1 yard away from victory yesterday. But look, on the final drive, Trevor Lawrence took a sack and he threw an interception. And both of them got overturned on phantom penalties. And they still couldn't score. And they still lost another club. Again, 0-5 in the one-score games, 13 penalties for 81 yards. This isn't a confident team. This isn't a happy team. Linebacker Josh Allen, we got to figure this bleep out right now. It's going to take everybody in the locker room to figure this out. It's going to take coaches included. It's important for us. It's important for this team. It's still a long season. We've got to get hot. The Jags have it in them to get hot. They played well in London. I think they're better than Denver. But you comfortable laying points with that team? More than a field goal? The markets are. Again, it's been Jags money from the open in this one. 3.5 and 4 out there. But some of that, I think, is anti-Denver. And some of it is certainly Jacksonville's familiarity with playing in London.
Like it, Teddy. Next game up, 253, 254, Chicago Bears, Dallas Cowboys. We're seeing the Cowboys heavy favorites here, Teddy. I believe the heaviest favorite on the Sunday card, -10, -10.5, depending where you're shopping right now. It's mostly 10 in the hook here as the Cowboys home favorite, 42.5 being the total in Jerry's world, Teddy.
Yeah, look ahead line here was 10 and 43, and the markets have kind of opened in that same range, 42.5. So obviously, whatever happens for the Bears tonight is likely to affect this point spread. But, unless Chicago plays the game of their life, I think that Dallas will still be double digits. Question is whether whether it's a 10, whether it's a 10.5 or 11. I would expect it to be in that range. I would look for this to be a Monday night game that dramatically affects the line for next week. Because look, Dallas dominated. They were getting the offensive line dominated yesterday. They got huge chunks of running the football. The defense is playing at a Super Bowl level. And you look at the point spread yesterday in retrospect, say -6.5 for Dallas, really. And I know it was a 3-point game in the fourth quarter, but Dallas is looking more and more like a legit Super Bowl contender by the week. And they got Dak Prescott back. Prescott saying all the right things. Don't try to do too much. I'm just trying to play my role and make sure I put this team in the best chance to win. And again, Lions came in averaging 28 points a game. They didn't score a touchdown against Dallas. Dallas only given up more than 1 touchdown in a game once all season. Bears offense doesn't work against New England. Not convinced it's going to work against the Cowboys either. More likely to see Dallas money here, I think, than Chicago, unless the Bears look awful good on Monday Night Football. And Dallas, of course, of these two teams, Dallas has been the undervalued commodity. Very good straight up, very good against the spread so far this season in the markets. This is the first time all year that we've seen the point spread kind of catch up with Dallas. That being said, my powering number is 12 for the Cowboys, so maybe they haven't caught up with Dallas just yet.
255, 256. Next game up, 1 o'clock Eastern kick. Two cities that know how to have a good time here. Las Vegas and New Orleans. We got the Las Vegas Raiders -2-point road favorites, 48 being the total. Raiders at Saints in the Big Easy, Teddy.
Yeah, look ahead line here was New Orleans -1. The total opened 44 and got bet up to 45. Now, my powering number had the Raiders -1, and obviously we're seeing the markets give us nothing but Las Vegas money early on in this one. And you can understand why, all right? New England is a mess. New Orleans is a mess, I should say. Yeah, they won the yardage battle against the Cardinals, 7.0 to 5.4. And yes, they have extra time to prepare, but they were also playing from behind all game. And they had a pair of Dalton pick sixes and a Dalton interception in the end zone. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games right now. You want to talk about what's defined the Saints season? Missed tackles, turnovers, and penalties. After the game, Traquan Smith and Alvin Kamara had a little conversation. Quote, "We've got to really police ourselves to hold our own selves accountable, hold our teammates accountable." I don't know if that's super positive or not. It speaks to some of the issues with Dennis Allen not filling the Sean Payton leadership void. And when you look at this team, there are injuries everywhere. I think their top 3 cornerbacks. Yeah, Lattimore's out. Adebo's out. Bradley Roby got carted off in the game. Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas, Adam Troutman, the receiving core. They've got Andres Pete on the offensive line. I mean, the injuries for New Orleans are pretty devastating, and obviously they're playing with the backup QB as well. For the Raiders, you want a little buy sign? They had a season-high 400 yards of offense against the Texans. They're going to play each of their next to 5 opponents are 500 or less coming to this weekend, coming to this past weekend. And in fact, 9 of their final 11 opponents, Raiders may well be favored in these games. This is a team that if you want a long shot future on, now's the time to buy it. We saw Josh Jacobs, 143 yards, 3 second-half touchdowns, 4 consecutive 75-plus yard scoring drives. You know, Jacobs, quote, I think it's more of a credit to the offensive line. Remember, this is a unit that we gave a lot of concern to at the beginning of the season. They've gotten better. Quote, I come back to them all the time because I feel like it's the first time in a long time where I've had 4 to 5 yards without being touched by anybody. They're making it pretty easy on me, and I'm going to make sure I take care of them for Christmas. So Jacob's very happy with the Raiders' offensive line. Are we ready to lay points with Vegas in an early start game back east? Maybe. Saints have Monday Night Football the following week, but they can't be looking ahead to anything right about now. All that being said, all the good stuff about the Raiders, the Texans also gained a season high in yards yesterday against that Vegas defense.
Teddy, like what you said there, of course, it's tough to make money, you know, betting futures, just kind of overall guys. But seeing the Raiders pretty much middle of the pack here, Teddy, at a kiosk shore, 50-1 to win the Super Bowl. Does that interest you at all?
I want to maybe now's the time to make the playoffs. I'm not looking at a Super Bowl future. I'm looking at a Raider to make the playoffs.
Okay.
I don't think they can win the division. I think they'd be KC. So the one I would look for would be a Raiders to make the playoffs. That's the one to bet now.
Interesting. Okay. Moving down the list here, guys. 257-258, 1 o'clock Eastern kick. Looking at the Wager Talk Live odds screen here. Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons next game up. We are seeing the Dirty Birds -6. There is a 6.5 out there, but pretty much -6 across the board. 42 being the total in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Teddy.
Yeah, the look-ahead line was Atlanta -6.5. That got bet up to -7 when everyone was fading Carolina last week. That turned out to be a inappropriate move. The total was 41 at the open. The look-ahead, I should say, opened here 42. So a little bit of respect for Carolina's offensive acumen with their new running back duo of Donta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, who combined for, almost 200 yards between them. Here's your crazy stat. Go have fun today and look at the NFL standing, all right? Because the standings are bizarre to look at today. Carolina's 1 game out of first place.
Wow.
Carolina is 1 game out. If they win this game, they're playing for first place. They're playing the first place team in Atlanta. Carolina's awful. They're ranked dead last in power ratings. They're close to it. And they're a game out of first place. My power rating number for the game is only 5. What do we do with Carolina right now? Steve Wilkes, quote, that definitely wasn't a team that wasn't out there trying to tank it. These guys right here have come together. They believe in one another. There's a lot we can build on today. P.J. Walker, the best game I've seen him have as a starter for Carolina. We're not going to see Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold anymore. All of a sudden, this team feels good about themselves. They got a running game. The defense has been there. And yesterday, for the first time all year, let's not make too much of it. P.J. Walker's still not an NFL quarterback, but there was some quarterback play there yesterday, which there hasn't been. And Atlanta's got some real issues in the secondary. During the game, they lost 3 different guys out of the secondary. They came into the game with 2 guys already hurt. That's their top 5 guys in the secondary that are all hurt. And Joe Burrow passed for 345 yards in the first half. The Bengals scored touchdowns in the first 4 possessions. And there was no answer. No answer for Atlanta. Look, they're down by multiple scores all day. All right, Mariota had 1 75-yard completion to Bird right before halftime. His other 12 throws combined for 49 yards, and he took 3 sacks. All right. They trailed by 18 points in the fourth quarter, and they weren't even trying to throw the ball downfield. They weren't trying to get their young, highly paid, well-drafted receivers into the mix. A little bit of a baffling game plan for Atlanta, but they're certainly not a team that we're going to ask to win by margin. They're certainly not a team that we're going to ask to come from behind. Those are not in the Falcons' favors. But again, 6-1 against the spread. Finally failed one, but the injuries in the secondary for Atlanta are a major concern moving forward. Although, can Carolina exploit it? I wouldn't count on it.
Teddy, you're right. These standings are wild to look at, and particularly in the NFC South, which Teddy kind of laid out for you. And also, Teddy, if you look at the ATS standings in the NFC South, it's all 2-5 against the spread or worse, and then the Atlanta Falcons are 6-1 ATS. So it's just kind of wild to look at that division in particular in these standings.
Let me go here for a minute, because the Jets are a half game out of first place. It's midway through the season. All right, they're a half game behind the Bills. All right. In the AFC South, Tennessee stinks. All right, and they're in first place. The Chargers stink right now. They're a playoff team of the season end of the day. The Giants and the Cowboys. The NFC East is the best division in football right now. Okay.
Oh yeah.
The Vikings have a 2-game lead. Green Bay's a sub 500 team. Every team in the NFC South is below 500. And again, Carolina's a game out of first place. And oh, by the way, did you look at the NFC West?
Seattle.
Look who's in first place in the NFC West. The team that
crazy.
was I got to find the odds for what Seattle was to win that division. I'm not saying Seattle's going to win that division, but the Rams, 49ers, and Cardinals were all expected to be playoff teams / Super Bowl contenders, and the Seahawks were lined as like a 5.5 win team. They're in first place right now and playing like it.
Oh yeah,
bizarre standings.
Yeah, absolutely, Teddy. I'm picking up what you're laying down here, guys. Let us know what you think in the chat box, guys. Wager Talk going live here on the YouTube channel. We got Paco Healy. He's from Puerto Vallarta, watching from south of the border there. So, hey, enjoy it. Salute, Paco. We got Kevin in the house, Nick, Coin, Leg Show Magazine, Raven Ron. All the VIPs in here. Appreciate everybody watching live, 10 a.m. Pacific time, each and every Monday. Feel free to comment below in the reply section as well if you're watching on replay. We got Pittsburgh, Philadelphia up next here, Teddy. 44 being the total. I think I said Dallas was the largest favorite. Well, actually, we've seen some movement here, Teddy. Seeing open 9.5. Now we're seeing Eagles -11 for the heaviest favorite on the Sunday card now. What are we thinking here? Steelers and Eagles.
Yeah, look ahead line, a 9.5 at the open, got bet up to 10.5. Total 44. Total still sitting at 44. There are some 43.5s out there. And we're seeing 10.5s now bet up to 11 for Philly. Look, everyone likes Philly. That being said, is this your kill spot for Philly? They're 6-0. They're off a Sunday night, very satisfying Sunday night football win over Dallas and a bye week. I don't trust that team's maturity to lay this price. And again, Pittsburgh, for all the struggles that they've had, they're hanging around a lot. They had the one awful game against Buffalo. And that could happen here. It could. Although that was a game where they had injuries all over the secondary. They've gotten healthier in that regard. But look, they were -3 in turnovers last night. They still covered all picket INTs. They had a minimum, I think, 4 potential dropped interceptions by their own defenders. That happened in the loss to the Jets, too. The defense pitched a second-half shutout. They only allowed 1 field goal after the first quarter. TJ Watt's coming back soon. The number looks a little bit lofty to me, but the market's obviously moving the other direction in early betting action on Monday morning.
We got next game up here, Teddy. We had a little appetizer on Wager Talk today. 261-262 talking about this one. Miami Dolphins and the Detroit Lions. We're seeing Dolphins -3 road favorites, 50.5 the total in the Motor City, Teddy.
So I thought this line was going to move to 3.5. From all indications that I saw, this was something I had it circled as an emergency betting alert potential for this morning. It opened 3, and as you mentioned, some of the books are at 3.5 already. I still think it's going to go to 3.5. Dan, let's cue it up. Let's get the emergency betting alert. Look ahead line here was Miami -3. The total got bet up from 49 to 50. On the look ahead lines, we're seeing 50.5 right now as the total, and the 3s are coming with juice. There are 3.5s out there. My powering number for the game is 4. And look, I'm not convinced the line moves to 3.5 across the board. It sure looks like it's going to. And it's not going at 2.5. So if you lock in on Miami, if you like Miami and you lock in at 3 right now, you're not going to get the worst of it in any way, shape, or form. It's not going to hurt you. That's really what we want to avoid. Hey, let's lock you in at a bad number. No, 3 is going to be the best you're going to get with the Dolphins. So even if the line doesn't go up, and I'm seeing mixed signals on that right now, but I did think it was going to be one this morning. Not going to hurt yourself if you take Miami right here, right now. If you like Detroit, there's no urgency, obviously. And, of course, the Lions have been much better at home than on the highway. But, of course, they're 4-18-1 now in the Dan Campbell era, including 0 on the road. They're a 1-5 team this year. Their defense played great for 3 quarters. They allowed a season-low 24 points for the game, and they were still never in it. Campbell, quote, "I'm frustrated because we're losing, just like I was last year. But I'm not down. I'm not losing confidence. I'm not going to go hide in a corner." Of course, Detroit has had major issues on the defensive side of the football. The offense hasn't been healthy. And, of course, when you turn the ball on, they had 5 turnovers. Look, Detroit had 5 turnovers yesterday, 4 by Goff, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions, 8 penalties, and went 0 for 1 in the red zone. Hard to win games against teams like Dallas or Miami if you put that together. And the Dolphins made an interesting choice, obviously, last night, not having Sanders kick his 4th field goal when they went for it from the 4th and 3 from the Steelers' 13. They didn't go up 2 scores as a result. Made a huge difference against the spread at the end of the ball game. And Miami didn't move the ball. They punted their next 5 possessions. Tua was rusty yesterday. Touchdown and 2 field goals in the first 3 drives, and then not much there. And I talked about the dropped interceptions for Pittsburgh. So one would expect Tua is going to be better this time around, certainly against a weaker defense this time around. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Miami becomes, again, a team whose season-long stats, and this is a point you pointed out today on Wager Talk today this morning, Drew, Miami season-long stats are not going to tell the story of a team with Tua behind center. They're clearly better with him as their quarterback.
Good stuff, Teddy, as we're making our way down the Sunday slate here, guys. Almost a full Sunday slate. We do have 2 teams with a bye week, Kansas City and the LA Chargers. So next game up here, Arizona and Minnesota. We got the Vikings now -4. Some shops showing -3.5 here, Teddy. 49 being the total. Cardinals at Vikings in Minnesota.
So this is an interesting one, certainly when it comes to the look-ahead lines. Look-ahead line opened Minnesota -6.5. It got bet down to 5.5. And it got bet down even lower, and obviously when it opened here, we're seeing 4s. And now even 3.5s popping up on the board. The Vikings didn't play last week. They had a bye. So this line has moved 3 points based on one team's results in one game. 6.5 to 3.5, based on Arizona, what they look like on Thursday Night Football, a game in which they gave up 34 points, 400-something yards, and played against a team that had injuries. I've talked about the Saints' injuries already. And it moved the line down a full field goal, which, in my mind, that's, but I think it's warranted. Look, DeAndre Hopkins makes an enormous difference in that offense. Murray had only 20 completions. 10 of them came to Hopkins in his first game. Robbie Anderson, a non-factor, 0 catches, 1 target. But Cliff Kingsbury, for the first time all season, we could play with the lead and lean on it. It definitely helped. They still have injuries. They still have kicker injuries. They still have running back injuries, as our concern. But, when you look at the surprise teams in the NFL this season, Minnesota's, people are calling Minnesota one of them. Every one of those surprise teams has a winning point spread record except the Vikings. All right, which tells us the markets aren't undervaluing this team. They lost the yardage battle by more than 200, but they were +3 in turnovers and had 10 Dolphins penalties last time out. 2 touchdown drives, Cousins was nearly perfect. And on the non-touchdown drives, the offense didn't work. They punted 9 times. I worry about a team like Minnesota going into the bye off that win, 5-1, a little bit fat and happy. Although, I like this quote from Justin Jefferson. We still haven't played our best ball yet. There's so many things we need to fix. The plays are there. We just got to execute them. Interesting scenario here. I don't love the spot. I don't want the team off the big win in the bye week that had a successful open of the season. I'm not going to lay more than a field goal with Minnesota, but the markets may have taken all of that Arizona value out of the equation. Arizona's still the only one going to look in this one.
Teddy, a handicapping question for you. Is that particular, this profile to the Minnesota Vikings, or is that something you would use in the NFL, a good start, bye week coming out, where you wouldn't want to bet on that type of profile?
Good start, satisfying win right before the bye. Those teams tend to come out. And again, Ralph Michaels got some real good data You know, the teams coming out of the bye aren't, we always talk, they're coming out of the bye, they're fresh and rested. They're also out of sync and haven't necessarily been fully focused. It's not a positive expectation wager. The home favorite off a bye is a money losing proposition. It's the teams going into the bye, that are the money makers. I haven't really, bye weeks coming up next include Denver, Dallas, Pittsburgh, from teams we've already talked about.
Like it, Teddy. Good stuff, guys. New England Patriots, New York Jets, AFC East battle. Next game up, 265, 266. Final 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific kick. We're going to talk here. -2, mostly -2.5 now. That's the Patriots as the road favorite. 41 being the total here.
Yeah, look ahead line here was New England -1, total of 40. The Patriots haven't played yet. The Jets looked solid again yesterday, certainly on defense, with the Breece Hall injury. Again, running backs don't matter. But Breece Hall has multiple big play touchdowns, and the backup Carter doesn't have that capability. The Jets really, yesterday, they had one Breece Hall big play touchdown on 3rd and long, and they didn't do anything offensively. And it looks like Hall tore his ACL. My powering number has this game at pick'em, even with Hall. And, of course, the Jets are 5-2 for the first time since 2010. That was the last time they made the playoffs. This defense continues to blow up the line of scrimmage. Sauce Gardner was unbelievable yesterday. Great special teams again. They're downing punts at the 1. They had a block punt 2 weeks ago. They certainly bought into Robert Saleh selling. This line likely to be influenced by what happens with New England tonight. The Patriots win and cover. No surprise here if they go off 3-point favorites. If they don't, if the Bears beat them, who knows what the Jets will be. Maybe we do see some. I don't know. I don't think it'll be any lower than the -1 at the look ahead. But if you're going to bet the Patriots tonight and you like them next week, you may want to make 2 bets instead of 1. New England -2.5. If they win and cover tonight, I would not be shocked at all if this one goes to.
Makes a lot of sense there, Teddy. We got next game up, 267, 268 as we're on to the afternoon slate, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. Tennessee at Houston. We're seeing the Titans anywhere from -1.5, Teddy, to -2.5. Looking at the Wager Talk live odds screen, 41 being the total in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, so this was one that unfortunately, because of when we come on, we missed the emergency betting alert here. But let's put it this way. Look ahead line here was 3 -120 for Tennessee, total of 41. My powering number for the game is 4.5. I'm not particularly high on Houston. And the market's open 3.5, 3.5, 3, 4. Now we got 2s. Tennessee is really banged up. All right, they've won 4 straight after their 0-2 start. Ryan Tannehill, we're a tough team. We're going to keep battling and we find a way to win. They've used 20 different defensive starters already this season. Ryan Tannehill is now in a walking boot. We don't know if he's going to be able to play this week. Derrick Henry, again, 3rd straight 100-yard rushing game, 128 yards on 30 carries. Here's a quote from Mike Vrabel telling us that the Titans are an under team. Quote, "That's going to be the formula if you guys haven't figured that out." Talking about Henry getting 30 carries and keeping the ball on the ground and grinding clock and grinding long drives. Quote, that's how we're going to have to play. So that's flat out the coach telling you his team's an under team right now. I like quotes like that. They can be profitable. As for the Texans, Lovie Smith. Offensively, we saw signs of what we could be. Again, they gained a season high 404 yards against the Raiders. Defensively, we just didn't play well enough. Kind of simple as that. They've allowed the 3rd most rushing yards in the NFL. They led in the 4th quarter in Las Vegas and were blown out by midway through the quarter. Injuries on the defensive tackle position, on the offensive line, and Nico Collins, who's been their playmaker downfield, he got hurt as well. But, they go 9-15 on 3rd downs, move the ball all day, and lose by 3 scores. Again, the market's a little bit higher on Houston than I am.
Love the quote, Teddy. A little under quote there for the Titans. We got New York Giants at the Seattle Seahawks up next, Teddy. 4:25 Eastern kick here, -3, pretty much across the board. That is the Seahawks as the home favorite, 45.5 being the total in the Pacific Northwest, Teddy.
Yeah, I know these guys do such a great job of clipping out little things from the show that we can tweet and put on social media and all of that. That Mike Vrabel quote where he told us that the Titans are an under team, that might be something worth clipping. And then we can retweet that out throughout the course of the week, because it's not always that a coach tells you exactly whether his team's an over team or an under team in any given regard. Giants and the Seabags. Giants with the bye next. Tennessee, the Giants have the bye coming up. Look ahead line here with Seattle -1, bet up to -1.5, total 43, bet up to 44. And basically any book that didn't open 3 with Seattle is at 3 already. So there's no emergency betting alert. For this one, the 3s are already there. And the Seahawks, the first place Seahawks, nothing fraudulent about it, you know? Pete Carroll, quote, 7 weeks in and look where we are. Who'd have thunk it? Carroll, I really liked us today as they dominated the Chargers. You could feel us in all 3 phases. We were humming. It was good to see the offense go down the field and put points on the board, the defense slowing them down. 3 sacks, 2 takeaways. Defense is looking like a Pete Carroll defense a little bit. Kenneth Walker, 168 yards and 2 touchdowns, running the football as well as they have, whether Penny's hurt or not. DK Metcalf's injury, a cause for concern. He hurt his knee yesterday. That's something you do want to pay attention to before Seattle, but it isn't an easy team to fade right now. And the Giants are 6-1 in one-score games. Finding ways to steal ones. The first team in NFL history to start 6-1 or better and have each of their first 7 games decided by 1 possession. Their 6 victories have come by a combined 27 points, but the injuries continuing to mount for the G-men as well. They lost 2 starting offensive linemen in yesterday's game, including Evan Neal, the star right tackle. Brent Brederson got hurt, although the backups played just as well. 17 rushes for 130 yards and a touchdown in the 4th quarter alone. G-men are feisty underdogs. Seahawks been an underdog commodity all year.
What a matchup. 6-1 Giants, first place Seahawks. Good one there. We got next game up 2-7-1, 2-7-2, Washington at Indianapolis. We are seeing the Colts, Teddy, -4. There is a couple -3.5s out there. That's the Colts as the home favorite. 41.5 being the total.
Yeah, look at the line here was 86, total of 42. We've seen a little bit of under money and obviously a big adjustment on the side down towards Washington. Washington went 1 for 4 in the red zone yesterday and still pulled off the outright upset against Green Bay. The defense allowing under 3.7 yards per carry their last 5 games. That's top 5 in the NFL. Chase Young, I don't know if he's going to be back this week, but they're talking about him coming back as well. Look, Taylor Heineke's not good, all right? And yet, listen to this Terry McLaurin quote. Quote, he plays like it's his last game every single time. That energy just spreads throughout this team. You just want to make, and you want to be able to make you want to be able to make that play to elevate him. That's an interesting quote. That's a read between the lines quote. That's a, guess what? We hate Carson Wentz too quote. Which means we upgrade Washington off the quarterback injury, not downgrade Washington off the quarterback injury. I've raised my power rating for the Commanders right now. Excuse me. The Colts, I'm getting the same quote every week. Frank Reich. At the end of the day, we got to play better. We've just got to play better. He said that 3 other times this year. The owner, Jim Irsay's in the news. He wanted to beat the Titans. Okay. You don't want him in the news. Excuse me. I got to get a cough drop. But this is, the offensive line can't block anyone. There's no running game. And they've decided they're a passing team for some reason, even though Jonathan Taylor's back healthy. 47 dropbacks from Matt Ryan, 227 yards. Only 1 completion longer than 14 yards. It's all dink and dunk. I'll give you a hint. I ain't laying with Indy this week.
Good breakdown, Teddy. Like it. Yeah, Washington, Indianapolis. We got Teddy covers, Wager Talk, sportsmemo.com. Guys, he's 18-11, 62% since week 1 in the NFL. NBA is going on as well. 68-31. That's 68% winners since February. Look out for his 5% big ticket plays, guys. 45-20. That's a 69% run since May of 2021. And longer term here, guys, since week 1 of 2015, that's the last 8 seasons, he's 277 and 222. That's 56% over the last 8 seasons in the NFL. I know 56% doesn't sound real sexy, but guys, long term in the NFL, that is a heck of an accomplishment. Check out Teddy Covers, Wager Talk, and SportsMemo.com. 2 more afternoon games left here, Teddy, making our way down the list in rotation order using the Wager Talk live odds screen, 273, 274. We got the San Francisco 49ers, Teddy, at the LA Rams. We got -2. That's the Niners as the road favorite. 42 being the total in a battle of California teams here, Teddy.
Look at line here was the Rams -2.5. They got bet down to -1. So there was money for San Fran before kickoff this past week. And remember, the Rams are coming off a bye week. So this is all about San Fran. And San Fran got annihilated again yesterday. Back-to-back losses for the 49ers. My powering number is the Rams -1 in this game. And San Fran, again, they just gave up 9.1 yards per play and 6 touchdowns. After giving up 4 touchdowns the previous week against Atlanta, the first 5 games of the year, they only gave up 61 points, 12 per game. Back-to-back weeks, they've been gashed. Why? Injuries everywhere. They had 7 defensive starters out last week. And of course, watching Jimmy G versus Patrick Mahomes yesterday, I mean, they've got Debo, they've got Kittle, they've got Ayuk, now they have McCaffrey. No team's got more breakaway weapons than San Fran, but Jimmy G can't get the ball in their hands. He was pretty awful in yesterday's game. Linebacker Fred Warner, quote, "Our defense prides itself on eliminating explosive plays." That's just what the game felt like, just explosive plays, one after another, keeping drives going, and then finding a way to get in the end zone. Again, the Niners had them in 3rd and 20, and they had them 3rd and 12. The second half with a chance to get off the field and gave up a combined 91 yards on those 2 plays. And then, of course, they lost Dre Greenlaw as well in that ballgame. Rams are coming off a bye. They still have all kinds of offensive line issues. No boom going down with the ACL right before the bye. They were without 5 of their 8 linemen going into the bye week. Fewest rushing first downs in the NFL this year. No running game. Lifeless crowd in LA. Yeah, I mean, I can understand why the Niners are taking money here. But San Fran is not playing good football right now, not by any stretch of the imagination. And again, it's an offense that was designed for somebody else. Jimmy G's no good. They already know that. That's why they dumped him.
Guys, last game here, Sunday Night Football. Last game for Sunday's slate. Another big favorite, Teddy. Actually, since we've been talking, even more money, as high as -11.5. That's the Buffalo Bills hosting the Green Bay Packers. Interesting handicap here, Teddy. We're seeing it anywhere from -10.5 to -11.5. That's Buffalo as the home favorite. 47.5, 48 being the total.
Yeah, the look-ahead line was 48, bet down to 47.5 on the total. The side, and again, Buffalo didn't play this week. The side, the look-ahead line, was -8, bet up to -8.5. So we're seeing -8, now we're seeing -11.5, and one of the 2 teams didn't play. Is that an overreaction? What's Green Bay? I have a lot of notes on Green Bay right here. No 3rd down conversions in the ballgame. First 3-game losing streak since 2008. First losing streak of any kind in the Matt LaFleur era. Rodgers, again, showing yesterday that his thumb is out of sync and not that his thumb is sore and he's completely out of sync with his receivers. Alan Lazard got hurt yesterday with a shoulder injury. Randall Cobb is hurt. Christian Watkins, the one guy who can stretch the field, beside Watson, I should say, he missed a 2nd straight game because of a hamstring injury. Did I say they had no 3rd down conversions for the first time since 99? All right. Special teams issue. They had a punt blocked for a touchdown last week. Here they had a muff punt that led to a Washington score. A penalty turned away a fumble 6. Offensive line issues. Bakhtiari obviously hurt. He's not the only one. There was a illegal contact penalty that wiped out a fumble return touchdown. The offensive line got remade, and it didn't work. Matt LaFleur, our guys are extremely disappointed. I don't think anyone thought we'd be in this spot that we are in right now. Aaron Rodgers, quote, "We just need to play better, all of us. There's probably a number of plays in every phase we could have done better. The margin of error is so tight. A couple of calls don't necessarily go our way. We didn't execute it all on offense in certain situations. It's not winning football. Not a winning game plan either, all right? You got Dillon and Jones behind center, maybe the best running back combo in the NFL, one of them anyway, 12 combined carries in that ball. I'm not sold on Green Bay. They have been tumbling like Tampa in my power ratings. Is it enough? Have we over-adjusted to Green Bay's failures? Again, my powering number for the game, 11.5. But is Buffalo the team, that came into the bye as fat and happy as they could get? That was a big win. They put everything into that game at Kansas City. That's why I bet on them in that game at Kansas City, because that was their game. Is the focus there for the first game after the bye the same way to beat the Aaron Rodgers company by double digits when the Packers are desperate? Maybe. Probably not with my money, though.
Yeah, interesting handicap all around, Teddy. Good stuff, guys. As we got one game left. If you're liking the content, please smash that like button. Feel free to reply below on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. It helps us out with the algorithm. Trying to grow the show here, guys. Final game for today's show here. Monday, October 31st game, Cincinnati at Cleveland. Teddy, we are seeing the Bengals -3. Most shops showing a little juice on that 3, by the way. 47.5 being the total. We got Cincinnati at Cleveland to finish it off, Teddy.
Yeah, so we've seen the two-way action on this game as well. And this is one, again, where I could. Let's do it. Let's get the emergency betting alert in. Look at line here, Cincy -2.5, total of 45. My powering number is Bengals -4. This is a split line right now, 3 or 3.5. And it's not getting lower than 3. So it's the same story like we were talking about with Miami, Detroit. You may not get the best of it, but it's not going to cost you anything right now. You'll lock in on the 3. And if the markets do move to 3.5 broadly, you've already got the best of the number. If they don't move to 3.5, you don't have the worst of it. So if you do like the Bengals side, I would bet them sooner rather than later at the -3. They do have some injuries on the defensive line. That is a concern. But it didn't seem to matter yesterday. The pass rush was there. The run defense was there. The elite receivers were really starting to click yesterday. Top 5 third down offense, number 3 in fewest penalty yards per game. 4 touchdowns the first 4 drives before the end of the half. Came out the second half more of the same. This is the quote that stood out to me. It was a quote from the Falcons head coach, Arthur Smith, who I've talked about a lot this year as being a guy who we like, who we think is really smart, and who is devising good game plans. Quote, talking about Joe Burrow, "We threw a lot of looks at him. He just knows where to go with it." That's a bet on quote for Burrow. T. Higgins, quote, "There's no defense in the league that can stop what we got. There's a swagger right there with Cincinnati." Again, this is a team that started 0-2, and they won 4 in their last 5 since that ball game. The Browns won the yardage battle by 2 yards per play yesterday, 6.0 to 4.0 against Baltimore. But now they've lost 4 in a row. And again, you want to talk coaches that are giving the same quotes over and over again. Kevin Stefanski, you got to take the ball away. You can't give it away. All the little things, playing clean football, all those things. They're finding ways to lose winnable games. Yesterday it was that. Again, I thought Baltimore lost that game, but Cleveland lost it right back. Jacoby Brissett, who was at times excellent yesterday. Made plays with his feet, made plays with his arms, but not with the game on the line. Quote, "The margin of error in this league is pretty slim. You can go out there and play pretty well. Sometimes you still don't get the results you want. That can't change the way we come to work." That's one of those quotes that intrigues me. Because you wonder, is the team that had expectations, they're going to work as hard this week? I don't know. Cleveland, home dogs on Monday Night Football. Again, if the money's already shown for Cincinnati, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more.
Halloween special, October 31st to finish it off, guys. A good one Monday night there, Cincinnati and Cleveland. 2 emergency betting alerts, both at the key number of 3. Huge shout out to Teddy Covers, putting in the work each and every week, guys, on an 18-11, 62% run since week 1 in the NFL. And again, check them out for NBA. If you like betting The hardwood there, 68 and 31, 68% since February. And those 5% big ticket plays, guys, look out for them. WagerTalkSportsMemo.com, 69% since May of 2021. Teddy covers on Twitter at Teddy_covers. I'm on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. And again, guys, feel free to reply below on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. It helps us out with the algorithm. Please smash that like button as well. Huge shout out to the chat box. Teddy, anything, any final thoughts here before we shut it down?
Dude, this time of year when it comes to final thoughts, especially Sunday nights are crazy, because you got all your NFL stuff that you're doing, and you want to make sure that you're up on college football, and you got to make sure that your NBA is ready for the next day. So, we're burning the midnight oil a little bit last night in terms of thoughts. My thought is caffeinate and enjoy. And again, frustrating weekend in the NFL. But it's been a good year. It's been a good long-term track record. I'm confident. And something else stood out to me is that last week on Monday morning when I'm like, who do I like and what's the short list and what stands out to me, there weren't a whole lot of games that jumped. This week we got a decent short list to work with. I think we'll come back, bounce back strong this Sunday. And we'll likely have a 5% big ticket in the NFL on Sunday, which we haven't had the last couple of weeks.
Nice. Cooking something up for this weekend, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Smash that like button. Cash those tickets.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.